Hey guys, this is Ezra, and we're gonna work on some drag and drop movement, some basic movement in Game Maker Studio. So the first thing you would want to do is just create a simple sprite. Um, really, anything will do. It can be a square or a circle, whatever you want. It honestly doesn't matter. Um, I'm gonna make my blue. So then we're gonna go back. Oh, we're gonna name this sprite. Um, and you always want to name it S underscore um, whatever. So we'll just name this S underscore one because we're only going to have really one. We may have a couple sprites, but this is about it. So now that we have this, we want to go back to our workspace. Um, and we're not going to mess with anything else with this. This is pretty much what we want here. So, yeah. So after this, what we want to do is we want to add movement to this sprite. So first we're going to just open up our room, which it automatically loads for you, and we're just going to place our sprite. Oh, well, we need to create an object using the sprite. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Objects, Create Object, and we're going to use our sprite we just created. And we want to name this, since it's an object, obj underscore whatever we want. So we'll name it obj1. Um, and we want it to be the same as sprite. So now if we go to our room and we drag this object in, um, if we hit play, nothing will happen. It's just going to be a still dot just in the center of our black room. So what we want to do is we want to go to our object, and we want to add some events to the object. So honestly, this is one of the easiest things to do. What we want to do is we just want to add a key down, and we can make it, it doesn't matter which one, we're going to do all of them eventually. So if we're going to use the arrow keys, we can use, or we're going to actually do key pressed. If we use the arrow keys, we can just do up, down, left, right. So let's just start with up, key pressed up. Now we want to add a movement. Um, jump to point. So jump to point is what we're going to be using to move, and basically what our object is going to be doing is it's going to be jumping to the point just repeatedly, and we want to make it relative to the position of the dot, because if we don't do that, then it's just going to jump to that point on the screen, and that wouldn't help us at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to set it to relative. Since this is up, it doesn't want to move in the X direction at all, so we can leave it blank or put 0, it doesn't matter. And for the Y direction, up in this game, you're actually in the fourth quadrant of a graph. So up in this game is a negative number. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply -2 to our Y value. Now, the next thing we can do, it's pretty easy. We can just add another event, key pressed. Let's do down this time. We're going to use that same jump to point, make sure it's relative, and we can do +2, which will make it go down. We're going to do the same thing for the right and the left, and the right and the left are normal in this game, so right is a positive movement, and you're going to want to put that in the x-axis movement, so we'll put 2 and 0. Or actually, let's just leave these blank. Makes it easier to remember, and we don't have to deal with extra variables if we screw that up. So, okay. Now we're going to add one last event, key pressed, and we haven't done left yet. So now we're going to add that jump to point, make sure it's relative, and -2. So now that we have our simple drag and drop um, object and its code, we can go in to the game, and it may take a second to build the game the first time because it's trying to load the new sprites. Um, and what should happen here is the game will load in the Made in Game Maker Studio 2 tab, and you can move around with the dot. So now what's happening is we're moving around in that 2 unit motion every time I click once. So this means that if you want to stop and go every time you press, you know, the arrow key, you can do this. But there's another way to do this, which makes the dot move smoothly, which we can go back, and if we just change all of these events to, I believe, key down, and make sure you're changing the event to that same, um, you know, same direction. So let's change this event to key down. This is right. And this last one, change event, key down. This is down. Okay, so now that we have all of this, we can go ahead and click this play button here and run it again. And now it should move smoothly like this. Yeah, there we go. And you can move multi-directions using the multiple arrow keys. And that is your basic movement in Unity drag and drop.